Hey everybody, Will here. Welcome back to another video. Today it is Sunday. I'm joined by the cat who's just out of frame, but I'm sure he'll pop up in a minute. And we are going to be testing out Google's new Antigravity. So Antigravity has been out about 10 days, 2 weeks now. And I didn't jump on it straight away because, as with all newly released software, typically it comes with some teething issues and some bugs. So I've given it 2 weeks. I actually don't know how many releases have happened in the 2 weeks. It might still be the same as release day. But my hope is that they eased out some of the teething issues, as with all new AI products as well. There tends to be a bit of a usage thing where they are catching up with demand for it as well. So hopefully those things have died down. So that's why there's been a bit of delay in this video. So for those who don't know, Google Antigravity is Google's new AI-powered IDE. They released it in conjunction with their new Gemini 3 model, and they go hand in hand. And like a lot of other these coding tools, it's like Cursor, it's like Copilot, it's like Windsurf, where you have essentially what is a VS Code fork. I think Google Antigravity is a VS Code fork. Again, part of this is going to be discovery for me. And basically, it's just got AI layered on top. So you can ask it questions about files, about your code base. You can answer those questions and kind of go from there and help you in your workflow. And this video is, as I just mentioned, really a new discovery for me. You're going to join me in the process of downloading it, installing it, using it for the first time on a project, which I will disclose in a little bit. And we'll just see how good it is compared to some of the other competitors out there. As I said, like Cursor, like Windsurf, like Claude Code, like Nanocoder, which I'll talk to you in a little bit about as well. And let's jump straight in and I'll share my screen. So here we are on the Antigravity website. I must admit, I quite like it, this subtle animation effect in the background with the particles. Experience liftoff with the next generation IDE, with the download button. Oh, but the scroll has been taken over. This is one of the things I don't like, is when websites take over the scroll experience, and it always just feels more sluggish compared to just regular scrolling. But it's a cool website nonetheless. It's got everything you'd expect it to do. It's very much like Cursor or like Windsurf here, where you can talk to your code and it does things by the looks of things. It's got a bunch of reviews. Of course, they're going to be good reviews. So we're actually getting a few issues with Google Antigravity not downloading. It might be an Arc issue, though. I'm using Arc, the Arc browser. So what I'm going to very quickly do is try in Safari. It's always a bit of a last-ditched attempt, but it could fix this. Right, Google Antigravity. There we go. Let's press download, see if this improves things. Apple Silicon. Yeah, there we go. We're downloading it. Slowly but surely, but we are downloading it. 43 seconds remaining. And I'll join you in a second when that has downloaded. Excellent. That has downloaded. Let's close Safari. That's all I ever use Safari for, is bugs that Google Chrome or Arc can't do. Let's go into my Finder. Here it is. And let's install the software. Let's see how long this takes. Hopefully it's not too bad. Drag it into my app locations here. Now this really is my first time trying it out. I haven't tried this out yet. I've been watching a few of the reviews online on X and things like that, but I haven't actually tried it myself. As I said, I've held out for a couple of weeks to get some of the teething issues out. So hopefully this video is going to be valuable. So if you're looking for like a hands-on review of this, where I go through every feature, this is not going to be it. This is going to be very much a first impressions video. And the installer thinks it's done. Let's have a look. Antigravity. Let's boot in. Open this, and I'm guessing we can get rid of this downloader now. Okay, let's full screen this. Very minimalistic so far. Welcome to Antigravity. Let's get you set up. I think hit enter for next. I can choose a setup flow. Start fresh, import from VS Code, import from Windsurf, or import from Cursor. So if you were leaving any of the three, you can just import over. I am using VS Code, so let's do that. Oh, I'm already a fan of the idea that we have Tokyo Night. I love Tokyo Night as a color scheme. I'm going to 100% go for that. How do you want to use the Antigravity agent? Select from one of the options below. Agent-driven development, agent-assisted development, review-driven development, or custom configuration. It recommends the second one, which is probably going to be most applicable to most people, the agent-assisted development setup. And I think these defaults look good. I'm just going to hit enter. Cool, key bindings. We'll just go normal. We won't go for Vim. And we have some extensions here that it wants to move across from VS Code, so we're going to agree for those. So far, so good. This is where it starts with the Google part. Sign in with Google. And there we go. You didn't see anything. Antigravity terms of use. Antigravity is known to have certain security limitations. Absolutely fantastic. Users should be aware of potential risks, including data exfiltration and possible code execution. Avoid processing highly sensitive data and verify all of the actions taken by the agent. Yes, I agree to that. And this is also going to be really important here. So there's a couple of things to unpack here, and it's going to be a really boring screen to look at, but I want to make this clear, is if you're using AI for code, applications where you're using an agent to do coding for you. This is so true. The first bit here is that these agents tend to have completely free reign over your system. They can access files, they'll send those files off to Google, they can create code, run code. And you have to be so careful about what you are allowing these AI agents to actually do and actually execute. It is a big security risk. So when you hear about vibe coding being the future of development, I think it is. I think it will be looking at code less and less and less. But don't forget that the error rate of these agents are huge still, huge error rates. And you have to be on hand to understand what it's creating and what it's doing at all times. Because 1 in 10, 2 in 10 times, it'll be a mistake. It's an overall net efficiency gain, but not without its downsides. So that's the first part of this screen. The second part of this screen, which I want to make everybody aware to, and this is my first time seeing it, but I see it everywhere, is you are agreeing here. Yes, I agree to allow Google to collect and use my interactions data as defined in the Google's Antigravity terms of service and consistent with Google's privacy policy. For the purpose of evaluating, developing, and improving Google and Alphabet research products and services and machine learning technologies, I understand I can withdraw my consent at any time by visiting the account settings. Now, it's unclear whether I can uncheck this, but a lot of people will just check this like I did before realizing that what I'm agreeing to. And this is a really key thing when it comes to these third-party tools and coding agents, whether that be through Anthropic's Claude Code or OpenAI or Google now, is that it is incredibly privacy invasive. And I would also say that Google is going to be particularly invasive. Their entire business model, or the largest part of their business model, is created around... The cat is moving my mic. The large part of Google's business, a huge part of it, is their advertising business, which relies on offering free services to the vast majority of people, as Antigravity is vastly free. And we'll see about limitations and usage limits in a bit as we test it, but it's vastly free to get started with. And you have to assume when it's free, there is a reason for that, and you always got to look behind the curtains because it's going to be a big privacy risk. You are the product. You're giving it huge amounts of your code base or access to if it wants to. And yeah, that's just something to be aware of. You might be comfortable with that, but some people aren't, and they might just slip into it. So I'm not going to allow for usage collection, and we'll see how that impacts my experience here. We're just going to hit next, and we're in. This is very, my first impressions go, Windsurf-esque. It's clearly VS Code, but with a lot of stuff laid on top of it. They've done a lot here to change the UI by the looks of things. And I'm going to give this a test run, and I'm going to create a project with it. It looks like here we have the agent window here, very Windsurf-esque, very minimalist. I like it. And we have a few things. We can choose our model here. It's quite cool that they've included access to things like GPT-OSS 120B from OpenAI, as well as Anthropic's Claude Sonnet 4.5. And notice Opus isn't in here, Opus 4.5, which got released a few days after Antigravity. But obviously, mostly what they're going to be doing is promoting Gemini 3 Pro and the different variants and flavors they have of that. Also looks here like we have a couple of different things. We have planning mode. Agents can plan before executing tasks using for deep research, complex tasks, or collaborative work. Very nice. Or we have fast. Agent will execute tasks directly, used for simple tasks that can be completed faster. Okay, wonderful. We're going to try it. Notice, interestingly, also how they have immediately enabled planning mode and Gemini 3 Pro High, which is their deep thinking model. Now, this is going to be interesting on how that plays out in terms of usage limits, because I believe there is a subscription model attached to this as well. At some point, it's going to ask me for money, although I think there's a lot of free usage here. So it'll be interesting about putting these as defaults, how long our usage limits will last. I am tempted, just for the sake of longevity of this video and being able to actually try and do something, I'm going to put it on fast in Gemini 3 Pro low, just to give me a bit more usage, most likely. It's interesting, we also, up here in the top bar, I notice we have a few different things here. We have Agent Manager. Let's click that, see what we've got in here. Yeah, looks like it allows us to create multi-step agent execution. Welcome to the Agents Manager. In the Agents Manager, start agents on tasks like deep research, long-running projects, or background tasks. This is quite cool. This is not something that you see, an awful lot, or a couple of, cursor do it, but I like to see this. Open local folder, open remote folder. Let's just skip. And good. It looks like we can just literally set it on its task to do stuff. Fantastic. I'll be keen to explore this a little bit more. We have our browser preview here. Don't have Chrome though, so we won't be able to test that today. And then the vast majority of this is very much like just what you'd expect inside VS Code. We've got a bit more of a custom screen here to get started, as I said, very like Windsurf. And I think the next best part of this video is just going to be to get started, give it a spin on a project. So I'm going to be back in a second. I'm just going to create a directory for this project, and then we'll get going and I'll describe what we're going to try and create. Cool. So I've just created a test file called Antigravity test, and I've just opened it up within Antigravity, and it seems to have switched over, and we've got a couple of things here. We have, the Project Explorer, which obviously is empty, but obviously I would be very reminiscent of what VS Code natively is like, with the, code viewer here, and we have our panel where we can get it to do things. So today's project, and we are going to try and hopefully build a mini project, and that is going to be a 3.js sort of web task. I've just passed 250 subscribers on YouTube, which I know is incredibly small, but I'm grateful to each and everybody that tunes in, leaves comments, leaves likes, and subscribes to the channel. It's a real part-time thing alongside what I do day to day, but I enjoy making videos and talking about things like AI greatly, so I greatly appreciate everybody. And in a little bit of a tribute to that, the task that I'm going to put Antigravity to is to create a 3D environment that visualizes myself as a cube and all of the subscribers on my YouTube channel. Now, what I'd really love to do is, obviously I can say how many subscribers I have, but I'm going to set an extra challenge to see if we can API access my subscriber count for my channel, and we'll see how far we can get. So I have it on fast. I have it on Gemini 3 Pro low. Let's see what we can get out of it, but hopefully a little bit more of a usage limit. And let me give it its first prompt. So I have just surpassed 250 subscribers on my YouTube channel. I want to create a Three.js 3D visualization of this on a web page. I want to visualize myself, the channel owner, and in front of me, everyone that has subscribed to my channel. If possible, I'd like it to reflect my actual subscriber count through some kind of API request, please. I'm leaving it deliberately open here because I want to see how good it is at instruction following and interpreting my request and its understanding. Let's hit send and let's see what it can do. Okay, it's thinking. It's doing some thinking. Okay, this is interesting. Okay, it's created a plan here. YouTube subscriber visualization and list-size project. Create a Vite project structure, install Three.js and dependencies. Looks so good. So far, so good. It's created itself an implementation plan. Look at this. This is cool, actually. On first glance, this is neat. I'm liking this. It says I can review it. I give it comments. That's really cool. It seems to be going on alone and doing a lot of this stuff without asking me. For example, it's running npm commands here. And normally in something like Claude Code or Nano Code, if it's going to execute bash, it should ask your permission. This is something that does scare me a little bit when it starts just executing commands in the terminal. I'll be interested to see if later on, if there is something that isn't something like npm, that it will ask me for permission to execute that. Okay. And just as I thought it would, is asking me for confirmation. Accept. Yes. Look at this. I like this as well. Giving me notifications. That I used Cursor a long time ago, and one of the annoying things back along with Cursor that they've solved it now is that you'd have to keep tabbing back to check if the agent had finished instead of, it alerting you. So it's nice to see there's notifications here. Suggested sending input to command, hitting enter. I guess this is going through the installation process. I'd like to see, what I am actually agreeing to. It's actually kind of hard to see what I'm agreeing to. It just wants to say yes and me to hit enter, but I don't know on what particularly. See, here's another example of that. Suggesting sending input to command. On what command? I suppose do we have it up here? Yeah, I mean, it's just going through the Vite installation process. But again, it's like there's several steps to this. And I can't actually see what step it's on. It just wants me to hit enter. We'll trust it. That seemed to work. Oh, I like the icons. This icon set's nice compared to something like standard VS Code. So far, so good. We have some styles. We have some code here. I do like the Tokyo night theme. It's very good. It's very sexy. And the icon set is also incredibly sexy. Cool. It says project initialization, Three.js installed. I guess one of the things, one of my initial, not complaints even, but what I'm just noticing here is that it's doing an awful lot, and it's actually really hard to keep track of what it's doing. See, it's like just automatically created files with code, and I don't even have time to really read what it's doing. It is just running almost autonomously, which is fine to a degree, but also not what I was sold. It gave me a big spiel at the beginning about reviewing output, but it's actually really hard to review output at this stage. Now I'm talking at the same time that it's doing this, but at the same time, I'm trying to keep track of a lot of things. We have an implementation plan here. I mean, oh wait, it wants me to accept it? Okay. At the bottom, I've just noticed the workflow. Okay, so it thinks it's done, and now I have to go through it, I think. So I've completed 3D subscriber visualization. You can run it with npm run dev. Lovely, that's very helpful for me as a developer. It features you, a red capsule in the center, 250 subscribers, white capsules surrounding you, cinematic lighting and camera animation, a UI overlay showing the count. Through. What is this? Either way, look, okay, let's have a look now. So it's got a lot of changes here. Let's have a look at the changes that it has made. Review changes, index. I see. Much like GitHub's change review. So this is me real time, like reacting to this. How do I accept it? I'd quite like to look at, changes overview. And I can accept it one at a time, like Cursor can or Windsurf, and I can accept them all if I would like to. So let's have a little look. We have the HTML file, which is fairly simple, really. Doesn't hurt anyone, just as you'd expect. I guess most of this stuff happens within the script file. So let's accept these changes. Nice. Okay. Let's go through to style.css. Again, I'm going to have to trust at this point. I can't visualize the CSS output. So I'm going to click accept. PI does a whole lot of nothing, but I'm guessing this is a placeholder for it for the YouTube API. I'm going to see if it can get a workaround to this to use a different type of call, if there's an open API that can allow basic channel information, for example, like subscriber count. But we'll accept this for now. And main.js, which is going to be the big boy, which is the 3D scene here. Again, just for moving things along, I'm just going to accept it. I'm sure it's okay. I'm really curious to see what this walkthrough is. Walkthrough for the YouTube subscriber celebration page. Okay, it's just simply a file that talks you through a lot of these different things and how to get it running. Very cool. I like this. This is nice. Because often, especially on a long-running task like this, where I'm like, what is going on? At least it pauses at the end, and I can review all the code properly. Also review this walkthrough. That's very handy. So I think the only thing we can do now is give it a test. So let's open up a terminal. Okay, sticks it down here. Let's do what it says, npm run dev. And let's see what we've got going. Very successfully did this so far. We've got Vite running, and it gives me where to run this. Let's follow the link. That is kind of cool. What's getting increasingly amazing about these AI coding tools is just what it can do in one long horizon task. It's truly, truly amazing. So cool. I'm not going to count the amount of pills that are there, but I presume it's going to add up to 250. And this is a really sick visualization of my channel. So really great. Let's go back. I have a couple of things. This text is just horrible. It's a horrible color. It's a horrible gradient. It almost looks like it has a texture to it as well. I'd like the pills to not be touching as well. Can you see how there's a lot merged here? So we're going to try and fix that. And we're going to see if we can get it to hack together a solution to actually get the subscriber account from my channel. Let's head back over to Antigravity here and go again. Great. So I've said this is great. A few amends. The main title is a horrible color and gradient. Can we just make it white? The subscriber capsules overlap. This is okay, but I prefer the subscriber capsules don't touch. Is there a way we can get live subscriber count without the YouTube API, some open endpoint or something? I would like to pan and zoom with my mouse. And so there's quite a few moving bits of context there for it to deal with. So let's see how it does. I'll still have it on planning mode with Gemini 3 Pro low, and it's going to be thinking again. My only criticism is I can't really keep track of what it's thinking about. It might as well be hidden. I mean, refining visualization, user requested style changes, non-overlapping layout, mouse controls, and a public API for live counts. Starting research. So it's going to start on the research front. Off it goes again. Not really much point in that thinking thing. I can't see the content, or I can, but by the time I've done it, it's already gone. It's got another implementation plan here. Excellent. Okay, plan approved. I mean, I didn't necessarily approve it. It's self-approved. I wonder if there's a way to turn that off, but I actually don't think that there is. I guess I can stop it and review it, but that's about it. My plan approved, starting implementation of style changes, orbit controls, and concentric circle layouts. Again, it's just proceeding with so much. That's my only criticism. I wish I could review a little more incrementally instead of just reviewing at the end. Okay. I've updated the visualization with your requests. Title now clean white. Layout subscribers are arranged in concentric rings so they don't touch. Controls. You can now pan, zoom, rotate with your mouse. Live count. I confirmed there is no free public API without a key. I've kept mock mode for now, which is easier to swap if you get a key later. Okay, let's accept all the changes. I trust it. Let's have a little look. Okay, look at this. Oh, I like this. Basically, what was 2 minutes is amended most of what I wanted. And now I can visualize my subscriber count in a nice way. It's also rapid, must admit. Very good at instruction following, very good at producing output here. I've not asked for anything special particularly, but really, really cool. It's followed my set of instructions really well. I would love it to, actually have a live count, but I can't help it if it can't do that. I am going to look myself briefly just to see if I can give it a helping hand. I might be wrong. I've never tried to do it. Okay, I had a quick look. It looks like Google Gemini 3 Pro was correct. I can't find an easy way to get a live subscriber count, so we'll have to update it as we go. And there we go, 257 subscribers. So I guess it will just keep adding them to the outside here, which is really cool. I'm going to keep this project, and next every time I sort of hit a milestone, I'll go in here and fill it in. But this is really good. I'm going to keep going because one of the things that I am most curious about is limits, because when it first came out, people were only reportedly being able to enter a couple of prompts at a time and then we'll be blocked. So I'm going to see how long we can keep going for this for. So first thing I'm going to say is, can we make it daytime with a more sunset light? Because alongside usage limits, it'd also be really good to keep seeing how far I can push this model. So far, it's done an excellent job. Gemini 3 Pro marries up to, how good the internet says it is. It is excellent. And I'm just going to keep pushing it to see how well it can do. I've also noticed it's really rapid. Oh, hello. Come on in. Sorry about that. I was midpoint. The cat has a new thing about being incredibly rude. Right, stay put. What I was saying before is that it's really rapid at making changes. I must admit, it seems to fly through these changes. Literally this one was about 20 seconds. I mean, it looks horrible. It's not quite right, but it's not bad, that's for sure. But yeah, really, really quick. So its change was pretty terrible. I asked it to be sunset light, and it made it look like a desert sandstorm. But I'm asking it to make it more crisp and see if it can do that. I keep circling back to it, but I must admit this is totally useless a panel. It just does stuff without me having to really look. It's done an excellent job, but I must say that might be a put off for some people. Having not being able to sort of review this in real time. It's just sort of makes changes, builds it, hopes for the best. As you can see, it's made a big change to the main JS file. It doesn't present it for me, unlike Cursor. Well, I haven't tried Cursor 2, but when I did use Cursor for a while, it presented the change as a diff in the center screen. I'd like to see that, so I can at least see code as it goes instead of just, it's done it. Let's have a look. I've updated the lighting to a blue and gold theme. Sky, deep royal blue for a crisp evening feel. Okay. Sun, golden hour light, casting warm shadows. Fog, reduced cooled down to remove the sandstorm effect. Rim light. I mean, that is truly grim. Okay. That is not the best. Wow. The sky is so dark. Much brighter, please. In essence. It did so well. I'd also like to be able to see the sun, really. I mean, it's just a weird look. Do you know what I also keep doing is I keep opening VS Code by accident because it's my IDE of choice, but I have to remember that I'm using Antigravity today. Visual polish, user requested a brighter sky and visible sun, updating the scene, configuration, acceptable. I mean, it's a look. It's gone for like an actual sun. Wow, it's really not what I wanted. I really wanted like a bright sky with like casting nice soft shadows. The soft shadows seem to be a thing, but it's gone for like a style which I did not expect. I could see us iterating this for ages, and this is the problem with AI coding agents, when I actually don't really have much control. I do, but I don't. It does so much automatically that I'm going to be going back and forth with it, back and forth, trying to get this correct. And I have to be really good at prompting. I can't rush it. I have to be really good at describing what I want. And if I'm not very good at that, as many people are, it's going to be really tricky to get the result that you want. What I must say, though, is I've been doing this now for about 30 minutes, trying to refine it and get this set up, and it's working really well. I haven't hit any usage limits, which is really promising. And yeah, that is good. So what is my initial consensus on anti-gravity as a tool? Well, I think it is really good. It's obviously this 2 weeks has played out very nicely because I haven't really encountered a lot of the issues that the internet said there was. I haven't hit any usage limits after about 30 minutes of work. I know that 30 minutes isn't a typical coding stint with complex code bases with many hundreds of files. I imagine usage limits are probably going to be lower. But for small tasks and small project work that I've done today, very good. Cannot complain. Is it a good IDE? Again, initial thinking, yes. I think it's clean. It looks good. It's relatively clear on what you are doing, and I have no complaints. I could probably get used to it as a daily working tool. I love the Tokyo night theme. Things are laid out in fairly discoverable places, and it didn't take too much to get going with. So again, very good. My complaints of it so far have mostly been, as I've talked about in the video, is the fact that it feels overly autonomous for me. I understand this is probably the way the world is going to be going within AI coding and AI development. However, again, that margin of error is so high at the moment still with these agents that I would just love a little bit more granular control. I don't think my opinion will be shared by everybody. I think some people will agree, but a lot of people do love this sort of autonomous mode. But I must admit, when it's just working away, it is relatively disconcerting and also hard to keep track of, because at the same time, it's making these code changes, and if you have something like Vite running as we do in this project, it's just hot reloading it in. I mean, it's not waiting to build it. It tries to build it at the end to verify errors, but at the same time, it is just hot reloading for me to actually review changes. And I would be nervous about letting this free on an existing project of mine, just because it's making code change after code change. I'm not being presented quickly with the diffs. I'm not being allowed to sign off on things. Now, there might be settings for this. I'm, again, fully hands up. I haven't looked if there's settings to turn this off. But again, a lot of people are just going to use it out of the box, like I have. They install it, use it out of the box, and those are the settings. So I would like maybe a little bit more of a granular control over the agent from the get-go. And my last small, and it's not even a gripe because we'd have to verify and wait for the group consensus really on how this is, but I'm always just reminded this is a Google product. I have downloaded this. I'm using Gemini 3 Pro, low and high. I'm using it for a very, very context-heavy task, or what would be a very context-heavy task. And I'm acutely aware that it's free, and that is because you are the product. Most likely, as there's a lot of Google things. So again, I'm giving Google a lot of IP of code. Again, it doesn't matter much in this test scenario where I'm just getting it to create something for fun, but in real world applications where I'm developing things, for clients as well as myself, a part of me would be just acutely aware of where your information is going. Now, some people won't care. They care about cost, and for cost, great deal. But for privacy, it might be slightly more questionable. What I am going to do is I'm going to use Antigravity as a bit more of a daily driver to give it a general consensus, to give a true general consensus of how good it is as a AI-driven IDE, and we'll get a sense of usage limits. But as a first initial introduction to this as a piece of software, really good. I think Google's done a great job over the last 2 weeks. I'm not really encountering anything that people initially said they were, and it is impressive. Gemini 3 as a paired coding AI agent, fantastic model, works really well. And yeah, if you like videos like this, if you like discussions on AI and future technologies, don't forget to subscribe. I'm a small channel. I've not been doing this long, and every bit of support means a lot, and I'll catch you in the next video.